I stood at the back of the simple wooden archway, my wildflower bouquet trembling in my hands. The string quartet began Pachelbel's canon, the signal for my entrance. Ahead of me, 60 smiling faces turned expectantly, and in the very front row, my parents sat with their backs rigid, my mother's lips a thin, disapproving line. As I took my first step alone, her whisper, deliberately loud, cut through the music. Well, we told her this was embarrassing. Let her walk herself. My father didn't whisper. He let out a short, derisive laugh. She made her bed. Every eye in that sun-dappled garden swiveled from me to them, then back to me, the humiliated bride with no one to give her away. My name is Emma. I am a 26-year-old trauma nurse, and my parents have always measured worth in wattage. My younger sister, Vanessa, was the family star, a pageant queen turned influencer, whose life was a curated highlight reel. My work, saving lives in the chaotic quiet of the ER, didn't sparkle. It was messy, emotional, and invisible to them. When I fell in love with Jake, a warm, brilliant middle school teacher who spent his weekends building desks for underfunded classrooms, they saw it as a final confirmation of my settling. Our wedding, a humble backyard celebration fueled by our own savings, was to them a rustic embarrassment. 3 months before the wedding, over a tense dinner, I had asked my father to walk me down the aisle. He exchanged a glance with my mother before speaking. "Emma, walking you down would feel like we're endorsing a mistake." The word mistake hung in the air, attached to the man I loved. They refused to participate, opting only to attend as spectators. Their public campaign of condescension was relentless. At a family gathering, my mother announced to the room, "Oh, it's very humble. Emma's doing it all herself." My father laughed as a relative asked about his role. "We'll be there in spirit. Let's just say we're not the stars of this show." A week before the wedding, my mother called with a final, cruel suggestion: postpone. "People are talking," she hissed. "They think you're rushing because you're pregnant or desperate." When I defended my choice, she laid bare their true priority. "We ran into Margaret from the country club. She asked if we were embarrassed. I didn't know what to say." Their social standing was more important than my happiness. What they didn't know was that our simple life was built on profound, quiet successes they never bothered to ask about. 3 weeks prior, I had been accepted into the prestigious Grayson Trauma Fellowship, one of only 12 spots nationwide. The program director, Dr. Miriam Zahir, a titan in my field, had personally called me. During that call, after offering her congratulations, she'd added, "I'd be honored to attend your wedding if you'd have me." I'd extended the invitation immediately. Unbeknownst to my parents, Dr. Zahir was also a major philanthropic donor to the hospital network my father's manufacturing company relied on for lucrative contracts. Simultaneously, Jake, the man they deemed ambitionless, had been offered a tenure-track professorship in education policy and had a book deal in progress. We made a conscious decision. We would not weaponize our news. We would simply live our truth and let their assumptions crumble around them. So, on my wedding day, as I walked alone down the grassy aisle, the weight of my parents' scorn was a physical pressure. I heard their whispers, felt the pitying stares. But I kept my eyes locked on Jake, who stood at the altar weeping unashamed tears of pride and love for me. Halfway through my walk, the officiant, a close friend, gently raised a hand and the music softened. "Before we begin," he said, his voice warm and carrying, "we are privileged to have among us a very distinguished guest who traveled here to support Emma today. Dr. Miriam Zahir, would you please stand?" A graceful woman in a chic lavender suit rose from her seat near the front. A murmur of recognition came from a few medical colleagues in the crowd. My parents stiffened, unfamiliar with the name, but sensing a shift in gravity. The officiant continued, "For those who may not know, Dr. Zahir is the director of the nationally renowned Grayson Trauma Fellowship at University Hospital. This year, she selected only 12 fellows from over 300 applicants. Dr. Zahir, would you like to share a few words?" My mother's hand flew to her throat. My father's mocking smirk vanished. Dr. Zahir smiled, her voice clear and resonant with authority. "Thank you. I don't make a habit of attending the weddings of my new fellows, but Emma is an exceptional talent. In our field, we look for sharp intellect, steady hands, and most importantly, profound compassion. Emma possesses all three in abundance. She represents the very best of what's to come in medicine. I am not only her future director, I am her admirer. To see her embraced by such a loving community today is a true joy." The applause was immediate and thunderous. My colleagues cheered. Jake's family beamed. The narrative in the garden had irrevocably flipped. I wasn't a pitiable bride being abandoned. I was a celebrated professional being honored. I reached Jake, and he took my hands, his thumbs wiping away the happy tears I now let fall. The ceremony proceeded, more powerful for the truth now shining in the open air. During the cocktail hour, my parents approached me, their confidence replaced by a stunned, shuffling awkwardness. "Emma, sweetheart," my father began, his voice uncharacteristically meek. "We had no idea about the fellowship. This is major. Why didn't you tell us?" I looked at him, all the hurt crystallizing into a calm, clean answer. "I tried to talk about my work for years. You called it depressing. You never asked." My mother jumped in, attempting to salvage the situation with a brittle smile. "We're so proud of you, honey. We always knew you had it in you." "No, you didn't," I said gently, holding her gaze. "You were embarrassed. There's a difference." Jake appeared at my side, his presence solid and reassuring. My father, desperate for a foothold, turned to Jake. "And Jake, congratulations to you too. We're glad to welcome you to the family." Jake's response was polite, but carried the gentle strength that had first drawn to me. "With respect, sir, Emma and I are starting our own family today. You are welcome to be a part of it, but that will require showing up, not as critics, but as supporters." He let the words hang before smiling and guiding us toward our waiting friends. My parents stood alone in a corner for the rest of the reception, watching as guest after guest, including people they knew from their own social circles, came to congratulate me on the fellowship and us on our marriage. The toasts from my friends celebrated my strength and Jake's integrity. The absence of a toast from my family spoke louder than any words they could have uttered. They left early, slipping away without saying goodbye. Vanessa followed, her usual smugness replaced by a sour confusion. As the lanterns twinkled above our dancing guests later that night, Jake held me close. "Do you think they finally understand?" he murmured into my hair. I looked around at the faces glowing with genuine happiness, my chosen family. I thought of Dr. Zahir's proud smile, my friend's fierce loyalty, the profound peace in Jake's eyes. "Maybe not," I said. And for the first time, the possibility carried no pain. Their laughter at the aisle was meant to shrink me. Instead, it became the silence before my world finally, joyfully expanded to its true size. I walked alone, but I arrived surrounded by everything that truly mattered.